Hi guys, it's Rae. We're going to start a cup that wasn't really on my list, but is now on my list of things to do. I was going to do a Serape, but I was going to do just a normal Serape tumbler. But I got to thinking that the Serape tumbler, done in the right colors, would look really cute as a split cup with a piece of this succulent vinyl. So, you know, I'm thinking about cutting off like this much of the succulent. I haven't decided if I like the bottom part or the top part better, but I have a 30-ounce skinny straight, so I'm going to do that. And I'm going to start working down and stop wherever I decide I'm good. So I have Pinata Sunbright Yellow. I'm going to put each of these in a little cup as I go. Just a little bit to start. I have Tim Holtz Ranger Mojito. I pulled these while looking at the vinyl, so hopefully they'll all look pretty good. I have Tim Holtz Laguna. And I'm actually going to move the pistachio to the first position because I don't want them to get muddy next to each other. Whoops. I just got to drop a mojito or a pistachio in my yellow. So it's all right though. I have Passion Purple from Pinata. And then I have Last Gumball from Tim Holtz. I was going to use Fiesta, but I don't think I had enough left, so we'll just go with this one for my pink. So if you can see the colors in the cup, hopefully you can see. Here, it might help if I did it that way. You can see how these will look good lined up with that. I didn't pull in a blue, but I think it'll be okay. So I'm going to get my turner turned on. I have a variety of brushes. None of them are terribly wide, and you do have to try and have a steady hand. I would normally prefer to do this on a turner that moves faster, but my faster turner doesn't like 30 ounces. So I'm just going to hold my hand here and let it spin. And I can tell I am slightly off level because the ink is running down. So but that'll be okay. And I may go over each color twice in some spots. I'm going to try and put the brush next to the cup of the right color so I don't mix them too soon. These have all had ink on them before, so they may reactivate some of the old ink even though they've been washed in alcohol. And I'm going to try and keep some of the stripes thinner, some of them thicker. If you don't have a relatively steady hand on your own, you can prop your hand on something. I do kind of wish that I had put another coat of paint on this. It was matte originally, and you can see it here. It had some gunk on it. So I had repainted it with a quick coat of gloss, but I really should have done a heavier gloss coat. So I'm going to go ahead and go into fast mode after I do this pink, because you'll have seen all the colors. And I'm just going to keep blending and layering, and I may even get a brush for just some alcohol at some point to blend it even further. So this is the final color. And that one did run, so this is going to end up being a wider stripe. Okay, so I think I'm good with that part. I think this is going to look cute underneath that with a pinstripe. But I do need to do a little bit at the very bottom because it is going to have a little bit exposed. Okay, so I'm going to clean up this mess. I'm going to let this dry thoroughly. We'll get the vinyl on. Okay, we are ready to move on with this one. So I'm going to get my sizing done for this. Okay, so I'm not going to measure around this cup because this came up in actually the It's Pretty Personal website group on how to line up vinyl. So I'm going to show you what I did in a super fast video over there. If your vinyl's too big or whatever. So let's hope I can get this on semi-straight. You know me, I can't even get the vinyl started. This is like the story of my life. This is not a clear vinyl. And I really should do the tape method, but I don't want to. I'm going to pinstripe this, so I'm just going to loosely set that down a second and just see if I am remotely close. Not too bad. Okay, so I'm going to let the vinyl go ahead and overlap. I'm just going to use my felt side of my squeegee, and I'm going to let the backing roll itself off. And I want to look because I don't want a huge overlap. So I am going to trim off just a tiny little bit, maybe an inch. So that's not bad. My pinstripe will cover that. So the question in the group was, how do you get a seamless cover between the two sides? So my answer is you let it overlap a little bit. This is probably more than I needed to let it overlap, but that's okay. You get a straight edge and put it somewhere over the overlap. You know, get it lined up semi-straight, and then run a sharp X-Acto knife, and mine is sharp because I finally bought blades, through both layers of vinyl. Then you can peel up the top overlap. Hopefully I'm not cutting through the vinyl, but you can peel off the top piece. And then gently lift the rest of it. And the bottom layer of vinyl may lift with this layer, and that's fine. It may stay on the cup, it may lift stuck to itself. But if you peel that back just a little bit, you'll be able to get that other piece peeled off. And then when you lay it back down, you have an absolutely perfect flat seam with no bump at all. I know I don't always do it that way. It kind of depends on if you're OCD about having that little ridge or not. But that is how you get it completely flat. So there you go, just a little hack. I'm gonna grab my box of goodies, nail tapes, and you know what, I think we're gonna go with the purple thick one again. This one's like my favorite to use. So I got it started. Just cutting that little end off because it was a little snaggly. And I am pretty close on my seam, so I'm not going to have to worry too much about lining it up. And I think this cup is calling for my touch of neon or touch of violet. I haven't decided which. Cheat. But I think because this whole thing is so busy that it's got to be like just a super simple text. Something like just a girl who loves plants or something. So I decided to just go with a very simple, I like plants more than people for this one. Like I said, I wanted something very simple, so I'm going to find my back side and set it down. This image was just in Cricut Design Space. I just searched phrases for the word plant and just picked something. And it's kind of a wonky, like none of it's straight, so I'm almost thinking about just putting it at an angle. Just for something different. I don't want to burnish this too hard while the transfer tape is on, because I don't want the transfer tape lifting my ink. So there we go. Okay, we're going to get the resin on this. I am going to mix it with a little bit of touch of violet. So we're going to pour some off my big cup. 20 to 25 mLs for this coat. Should be fine. And my touch of violet. Grab a little spoon. Just a little bit. Probably won't even use all of that actually. have a vinyl glove over my nitrile glove because I am coating a bunch at one time and I don't want to cross-contaminate when I'm using a cheat. So here we go. The epoxy just makes the colors of everything come alive. And the cheat just gives it that little something extra. So there we go. Serape top, vinyl wrap bottom. Let's see if I can move you a little bit. That's how the bottom looks. And that little hint of shimmer over the whole thing. So, I love it. This one is good. I'm going to move it out of the way and move on.